Hello everyone, welcome to my stop on the Valentine's Day YouTube hop. My name is Steph and this is my channel. I make lots of cards and lots of paper crafts. I hope you'll subscribe and stick around to see more of my work. Today I'm making this really cute Slimline Valentine's Day card, using a lot of products from my favourite stamping brand, Fawn. I'm going to get started showing you how I made this card, and very soon I'll be telling you how you can win a prize just by watching the videos of this hop. So to start this card, I'm using my Stitch Slimline die by Fawn with some pink cardstock. I'm also using the Polaroid die from the selfie frames, and I've cut that 4 times from some white cardstock. There's not a whole lot of stamping in this card because it's very simple, but today I'm using the Let's Go Nuts stamp set by Fawn and the How You Been Conversation Hearts add-on. And here I am stamping out these adorable little squirrels. I just love them so much. These two are my favourite. I love how excited that little guy is, and the one with the chubby cheeks is just the cutest. Just like with all my stamping projects, I ink up my stamps twice, just so that I get nice clear crisp lines. After I stamp these out, I'm then going to move on to colouring, and you'll notice that I use both a mix of Copic markers and regular alcohol markers. I'm on a pretty tight budget when it comes to crafting, so I don't have a whole lot of Copics. My collection is growing very slowly, but for the most part I use a set of alcohol markers that I got nice and cheap, and they do a pretty good job. So while I'm colouring these in and I've got you here for a minute, I thought I would just quickly tell you what you need to know about this hop. So there are 20 crafters in this hop, so there's going to be 20 videos, and while that might seem like a lot to watch, I can't think of a better way to spend a day than filling my head with crafty inspiration. So make sure you hop along to every single stop and comment on the videos in order to go in the draw. There's no rule on what you have to comment, but it would be really nice to either leave a compliment on the creator's work or maybe tell them where you're watching from, because this giveaway is open internationally. While I can't reveal what the prize is right now, I've been told it's a bundle of stamps and goodies, and I'm kind of sad that I can't enter it myself. So if you love surprises and you love craft supplies, make sure you enter. So now that my squirrels are coloured in, I'm just adding some simple little white details to them. I love adding these little white accents. I feel like it just brightens the images up. And now I'm stamping out my hearts. These are from the Fawn Conversation Heart How You Been add-on set. That was a mouthful. They are some of my favourite stamps. I just love that they come with all the little conversation heart words that you can stamp on them. But today I'm going to be leaving them plain. And again, I'm colouring them in with a mix of Copics and alcohol markers. I'm really impressed with how well the cheap alcohol marker blended with my Copics in this piece. You'll see what I mean in just a minute. I'll leave you with a little music as I finish this step. Once all my images were coloured in, I cut them out off camera. Now it's time to work on my shaker elements, and I will turn any card into a shaker card if I can, because they are my favourite and I just love them so much. So here I am adding some clear acetate to the back of my Polaroids. Well, technically this is going to be between my two Polaroids. I'm going to wedge them in the middle, so it's just one less thing that my shaker elements will get stuck on. I don't know about you, but when I make a shaker card, I always have a few elements who on the first shake find their forever home and get wedged forever. So the less there is to get caught on, the better. I'm going to do this twice, one for each shaker. I also cut a plain piece of white cardstock, the same size as the Polaroid, but without the hole in it. This is going to be the back of my shaker. Here I am just doing some stamping for the background for one of my little squirrels. I'm going to colour in those hearts the same way I coloured in the hearts that you just saw. I really wanted this little squirrel to be holding one of the hearts, so I used my craft knife and gently cut around his little arms. This way I could then slide one of my die-cut hearts under his arms and make him look like he's holding onto it. For the background of my other little Polaroid and for my big stitched background, I decided to just add some shiny flecks for a little bit of texture and to make it not look so plain. For this I'm using my pearl pink watercolor pigment. It was then time to start assembling these little shaker Polaroids. First I'm going to be gluing down my little squirrels. For this little guy, I made sure that the heart was also glued to his body so that none of my shaker elements would get stuck under that. And I'm also setting my acrylic block on top of him so that he dries nice and flat. I'll be doing this for both squirrels, just to eliminate any chance of things getting caught. I then took some kids craft foam. This is adhesive on one side. I measured it against my Polaroid and just trimmed some really thin strips so that they would fit around the edges of the frame. I then adhered them on, trimming them down to make sure it was a nice tight fit so that none of my shaker elements would fall out. Once I had done this with both Polaroids, I then loaded them up with some anti-static powder. This is just more insurance against shaker pieces getting caught. It just helps them to slide around a little better. It also stops them from becoming static and sticking to the plastic acetate. My shaker elements for today's cards are going to be these cute little heart clay sprinkles by Dress My Craft. Once it was time to seal up these Polaroids, I put some double-sided tape on the other side of the craft foam and removed the backing. I popped my sprinkles down onto my little squirrel image and gently placed the Polaroid over the top, pushing it down around the edges to get a good seal. And these worked wonderfully. I didn't have anything get stuck for once. It was at this point when I decided I should put some double-sided tape on the back of my background and get it ready to adhere to my card base. I try to do this a little bit early on so that I don't do it at the last minute when all of my three-dimensional pieces are already stuck on the front so that I don't squish them. From some black cardstock, I took my Oliver's Stitched ABC dies and used the letters to cut out the word nuts. This is going to be the main part of my sentiment along with a few other stamped words. I put some anti-static powder on some matching black cardstock and stamped the words "For You." I used some Lawn Fawn white embossing powder and then took this over to my kitchen to heat emboss. From my Let's Toast stamp set, I decided to use a couple of little sentiments and stamp them with some pink ink directly onto the Polaroids. I just felt like they were looking a little bit plain. As I was stamping these, my hands got a little bit wobbly, so I messed it up just a little bit, but I'll show you how I fixed that at the end. Let's put it all together. I loaded up the back of these Polaroids with some double-sided tape, pulled off the backing and adhered them to my pink background. My next step was to add my sentiment, and as you can see, I've cut up some tiny foam squares and stuck them on the back of all of these letters. This is one of my favourite ways of adding dimension to a card front. I then adhered this piece onto the card base. Just before I finish this card, I'm going to make sure I fix that little sentiment. I'm just using my white Jelly Roll gel pen to cover up any of the ink that I had smudged. Once that dries, I then do it one more time, and then you can barely see it. And with that final step, this card is complete. I hope you love it, and I hope that you will hop on to the next video. You can find the link in the description below. But don't forget to hop along to all 20 stops and comment so that you go in the draw to win the prize. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and please consider subscribing if you haven't already. See you again soon. Bye!